Your mind is the key to unlocking your greatest potential. In this audiobook, discover how mastering your focus can change everything: your life, your outcomes, your destiny. The power to create the life you desire is within you. It's time to take control and make it happen. Welcome to the beginning of a transformative journey. You're here because something inside of you recognizes the potential for change. You've heard the whispers of your inner voice. Those moments when you knew you could achieve more, do more, be more. But something was holding you back. This book is not just a guide. It's a blueprint to mastering the one thing that shapes your world and your mind. Have you ever found yourself stuck in a cycle of doubt, frustration, or simply feeling off track? Maybe it was a day when you felt completely overwhelmed by distractions, or when your own thoughts sabotaged your efforts before you even started. I've been there too. There was a time in my life when I felt like I was constantly chasing after something yet never feeling like I was truly progressing. It was as if my focus would drift away from what mattered most, always pulled in 1,000 different directions by external pressures and internal chatter. But then something clicked. It wasn't a grand epiphany or a moment of sudden insight. It was a shift realization that the power to change was within me all along. And it wasn't external forces or circumstances that needed to change. It was my thoughts. Let me tell you about a pivotal moment. I was standing in front of a mirror one morning looking at my reflection, and I felt defeated. Life had handed me its challenges and I was letting it all pile up. That's when it hit me. The problem wasn't the circumstances. It was my focus that had spent so much time on things that drained my energy and diverted my attention. I had completely lost sight of what mattered. I was letting my environment, my distractions, and even my own negative self-talk shape my reality. And the results were clear: chaos, confusion, and a sense of being stuck. But at that moment, I made a decision. I would take control of my thoughts. And it wasn't just a mental decision. It was a commitment to a new way of living, a way where my thoughts were in the driver's seat, not the chaos of the world around me. So I am sharing this with you because you're at a turning point. You may not yet realize it, but the power to completely transform your life is within your reach. Every thought you think has the power to shape your reality. Yes, even the thoughts that feel like they're out of control. If you want to unlock your true potential, it starts with understanding how your thoughts work and learning to direct them toward what you truly want. Science. Why do thoughts shape reality? But let's step beyond the anecdotal and dive into the science behind it all. What if I told you that the way you think directly influences not just how you feel, but how the universe responds to you? This isn't just positive thinking or self-help fluff. It's rooted in science. Your brain is wired to seek patterns. And the more you focus on a particular thought or outcome, the more your brain actively searches for ways to make that a reality. This is where things get interesting. Neuroscientists have discovered that our brains have a remarkable ability to rewire themselves through the process known as neuroplasticity. Essentially, the more you focus on a specific thought or belief, the stronger those neural pathways become, making it easier for your brain to continue following that thought pattern. This means that your thoughts are literally shaping the physical structure of your brain, reinforcing the ideas, beliefs, and actions that follow. Now think about that for a moment. Every time you think about a thought, whether it's positive or negative, you are strengthening the neural connections that support it. It's a kind of mental repetition that builds a stronger path for your thoughts to follow. So if you're constantly thinking about failure, scarcity, or limitations, your brain will continue to reinforce those beliefs, making them feel real and inescapable. On the other hand, if you focus on growth, opportunity, and possibility, your brain will begin to search for ways to make those thoughts reality. This is why what you focus on grows. Your thoughts are not just abstract, fleeting concepts. They have a profound impact on the physical and emotional landscape of your life. And the best part, you have the power to decide where you direct that focus. What's coming next? Get ready to transform. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds great, but how do I apply this in my life? That's exactly what we're going to explore in the pages ahead. We'll dive deep into how to harness the power of focus, how to overcome the distractions that constantly pull you away from your goals, how to train your mind to work for you, not against you. It's time to take control and become the conscious creator of your reality. But here's the kicker. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to start. In fact, the longer you wait, the more you're allowing your current thought patterns to dictate your life. This book is your invitation to begin today, right now, to transform the way you think, and by doing so, transform your life. Here's a brief overview of what's ahead. 1. Mastering your focus. We'll begin by understanding what focus really is and how you can take command of your attention in a world full of distractions. You'll learn how to eliminate mental clutter and create a razor-sharp focus that drives results. 2. Shifting your mindset. Your thoughts create your reality. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about rewiring your mind to believe in possibility. You'll learn practical strategies to shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, and how to break free from the mental barriers that hold you back. 3. Creating lasting change. True transformation doesn't happen overnight, but by implementing daily habits and routines that support your focused intentions, you'll begin to see lasting changes in how you think, feel, and act. We'll explore actionable steps that you can take each day to build momentum toward your goals. Throughout this journey, I'll share with you powerful insights, strategies, and tools that will help you understand the true potential of your thoughts. By the end of this book, you'll have not only the knowledge, but also the practical steps to begin reshaping your mind, your habits, and your life. Your next step. Let's dive in. It's time to stop merely wishing for change and start taking action. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is the way you focus your mind. Are you ready to start building the mental habits that will unlock your highest potential? If you are, let's dive in. The power of your thoughts is waiting for you to claim it. Let's make it happen. Chapter 1. Thoughts as energy. The connection between our thoughts and our physical state is something many people don't realize holds the key to their overall well-being. We live in a world where we often experience life through the lens of our mind, which then communicates directly with our body. Have you ever had a moment when you felt so stressed about something? Whether it was a deadline, a difficult conversation, or an event you were anticipating, that your body reacted even before your mind had fully processed it. Your heart rate quickened, your breath became shallow, and your muscles tensed up. It's not just in your head. Your thoughts physically impact your body. The mind-body connection is real, and it's profound. This dynamic relationship explains why changing your thoughts can transform how you feel in your body. It's also why negative thinking habits can harm your physical health over time. Stress, anxiety, and even chronic illness can be exacerbated by negative thought patterns that perpetuate themselves. But on the flip side, positive thoughts and a focused mind have the potential to heal, energize, and even strengthen you. Your mind and body aren't isolated entities. They are part of a vast integrated system where thoughts play a pivotal role in shaping your physical experience. Every thought you have sends out vibrations of energy that affect how your body reacts. In the field of quantum physics, it's understood that everything, including our thoughts, is made up of energy. Thoughts are not just fleeting ideas that float through our minds. They are powerful forces that can manifest physically. This is why it's said that where focus goes, energy flows. The energy you create with your thoughts directly impacts how your body reacts, whether in subtle or more significant ways. A positive thought, for example, can trigger the release of endorphins, the body's natural feel-good chemicals, which boost your mood and energy. A negative thought, however, can increase cortisol levels, the stress hormone, which leads to feelings of anxiety, tension, and even physical pain. When you understand that thoughts have this kind of power, you begin to realize that the control you have over your thoughts is also control over your body. You can either direct your mind toward health, vitality, and success, or allow it to drift into patterns that lead to physical and emotional suffering. The first step toward mastering your thoughts is realizing that your mind is not separate from your body. It is deeply connected, and what you think can either nourish or deplete you. Understanding this mind-body connection is essential for anyone who is interested in controlling their thoughts, and by extension, their reality. Think of it like a radio station. When you tune into a particular frequency, you are bound to pick up that station's broadcast. Similarly, when you focus on certain thoughts, you tune into the energy those thoughts bring. If you're constantly worried or anxious, you're tuning into a frequency of fear and stress. This might show up in your body as tension, fatigue, headaches, or even more severe symptoms like digestive problems or muscle pain. But if you shift your focus to thoughts of calm, gratitude, or possibility, you start tuning into a different frequency, a frequency that promotes relaxation, clarity, and wellness. The fascinating thing about this connection is that it's not just a theoretical concept. It's a practical reality. Your mind shapes your body, and your body reflects your mind. Understanding this principle gives you the power to change your life simply by changing how you think. And once you realize that your thoughts are creating the energy of your life, you can begin to deliberately direct that energy in the direction you desire. This chapter is about helping you understand that the energy you put into your thoughts is the same energy that flows through you, creating your reality. The good news is that you are in control of it all. The first step is becoming aware of the energy that your thoughts are creating. The mind-body connection. Thoughts create physical change. Our physical bodies are an extension of our mental states. This idea is often explored in the fields of psychology, neuroscience, and holistic health. It's fascinating to realize that our thoughts are not just abstract things that float through our heads, but tangible forces that alter our physical bodies in measurable ways. If you think about it, your body is constantly responding to the thoughts you think. When you think about a stressful situation, your body responds by preparing itself for what it perceives as a threat. The nervous system becomes activated. Heart rate increases, blood pressure rises, and muscles tense. This is known as the fight or flight response, an evolutionary mechanism designed to prepare you for danger. However, even in the absence of physical danger, your thoughts can trigger this response. Simply thinking about a stressful event can cause your body to react as if it's happening right now. It's incredible to consider how much influence your mind has over your physical experience. Conversely, positive thoughts can lead to physical benefits. When you focus on gratitude or joy, the body releases chemicals that help you feel more relaxed and at ease. Research has shown that positive thinking can enhance the immune system, reduce stress, and even improve overall longevity. The key takeaway from this is that your thoughts are not isolated. They are woven into the fabric of your life, including your body's functioning. If you've ever heard someone say your thoughts shape your reality, it's not just a platitude. It's a physiological fact. The body doesn't distinguish between real danger and perceived danger. If you constantly worry or stress about things that haven't even happened yet, your body will react to those thoughts as if they are imminent threats. This can create a feedback loop where negative thoughts lead to negative physical responses, which then reinforce those negative thoughts. This is why it's so important to become aware of your thought patterns. You can break the cycle by learning to direct your thoughts intentionally. When you shift your focus, you shift your body's energy. Think of it like a well-tuned instrument. If you focus your mind on calm and positive thoughts, your body will respond by operating in harmony, boosting your energy, and promoting a sense of well-being. But when your thoughts are filled with stress or negativity, your body starts to act out of sync. When you notice that your mind is leaning towards stress, anxiety, or frustration, take a moment to consciously choose a more positive, relaxed thought. It can be as simple as reminding yourself that everything is going to be okay, or visualizing a peaceful scene. This shift in focus doesn't just make you feel better mentally, it literally changes the energy circulating through your body. Your body responds to your thoughts, and this means that you have the power to influence how you feel physically by choosing your thoughts wisely. Quantum physics and thought energy flow where attention goes. The relationship between thoughts and physical reality can be explained through the lens of quantum physics. Though it may sound complex, the basic principle is simple. Everything, including thoughts, is made of energy. In quantum physics, it's understood that energy flows where attention goes. This means that when you focus on something, whether it's a thought, a feeling, or a situation, you direct energy toward it, and it becomes more pronounced in your life. This idea is not just theoretical. It has practical applications. By choosing where you direct your attention, you can influence the energy around you, and by extension, your experience of life. If you're constantly focusing on problems or fears, you're essentially directing your energy to those issues, causing them to manifest in your physical reality. But if you shift your attention to solutions, opportunities, and positive outcomes, you begin directing your energy toward those possibilities. This is why focus is so powerful. When you focus on what you want rather than what you don't want, you start to align your energy with your desires, drawing those things into your life. Quantum physics has shown that the observer effect is real. The act of observing a phenomenon can change its outcome. This suggests that by simply focusing on something, you are influencing its energy and shaping your reality. Your thoughts are powerful enough to affect the world around you. This isn't to say that thinking positively will magically solve all your problems, but it does mean that by focusing on solutions in rather than problems, you are more likely to see opportunities and take actions that bring you closer to the life you want. It's like tuning an instrument. When you focus on harmony, you create harmony. But when you focus on discord, you create more of that. Understanding how energy flows where attention goes gives you the power to shift your focus in a way that positively impacts your physical body, your emotional state, and your life as a whole. It all starts with being aware of where your thoughts are taking you. Are they leading you toward the life you desire, or are they keeping you stuck in patterns of fear, stress, and negativity, creating your thought patterns, habits that shape your life? Your thoughts are not random. They follow patterns that shape the course of your life. Every thought you have is a building block of your personal reality. And over time, these thoughts solidify into habits. If you think negative thoughts over and over again, you begin to form a habitual way of thinking that reinforces those negative beliefs. On the other hand, if you cultivate positive, empowering thoughts, you form habits of success, resilience, and well-being. The key to changing your reality is changing these thought patterns. The brain is a highly adaptable organ, capable of creating new neural pathways at any age. By choosing to think differently, you can literally rewire your brain. This is where the concept of mindfulness comes into play. When you become aware of your thoughts, you gain the ability to control them. It's not about suppressing negative thoughts or pretending they don't exist. It's about recognizing them and choosing different thought instead. Over time, this practice of consciously choosing your thoughts can lead to profound changes in your life. One of the most powerful ways to change your thought patterns is through repetition. When you think something repeatedly, it becomes ingrained in your mind. If you've ever tried to learn a new skill like playing an instrument or speaking a new language, you know that the more you practice, the easier it becomes. The same applies to your thoughts. If you make it a habit to think positively and focus on what you want, your brain will eventually start to default to those positive thoughts. This is why affirmations are so powerful. They allow you to reinforce positive beliefs and create new thought patterns that support your growth and success. The more you repeat them, the more they become a part of your mental makeup. Eventually, you'll find that your mind naturally gravitates toward these empowering thoughts, and as a result, your physical and emotional state will shift accordingly. The good news is that it doesn't take much to start changing your thought patterns. You don't need to overhaul your entire mindset overnight. It's a process that begins with simple awareness and small, consistent changes. Just by consciously choosing to direct your thoughts toward what you want, you're already beginning to harness the power of your mind to shape your life. And as you continue this practice, the impact will become more preponderating ripples of change throughout your life, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Chapter 2. The Power of Focus. Focus is one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal, yet it's often one of the most neglected. It's easy to get distracted in today's world. We live in an environment filled with constant stimuli, emails, social media notifications, and the general busyness of life. And while it may seem like we can juggle all of these things at once, the reality is that we are often doing ourselves a disservice by spreading our focus too thin. The true power of focus lies in our ability to direct our attention toward one thing at a time, fully immersing ourselves in it and giving it the energy it needs to flourish. The power of focus is not just about maintaining attention on something for a short period of time. It's about creating a sustainable flow of energy toward the things that matter most to us. It's about aligning our mental, emotional, and physical energy towards specific goals. And when we do this, we find that we can accomplish far more than we ever imagined. In fact, one could argue that everything we achieve in life is a result of where we choose to focus our attention. Focus, when harnessed correctly, is the key to success in every area of life, whether it's in our careers, our personal development, or our relationships. The simple truth is this: what you focus on grows. If you focus on your goals, they will expand. And if you focus on your doubts and limitations, they will grow as well. The results of this principle are seen in the world every day. People who achieve great things are often those who have mastered the art of focus. They have learned how to direct their attention with laser precision, blocking out distractions and immersing themselves fully in their work. Focus doesn't just help us get things done, it helps us get the right things done. And when we focus on what truly matters, we open the door to limitless potential. Focus creates reality, the link between attention and achievement. At the core of every successful endeavor lies focus. Whether it's in business, art, or personal development, the ability to focus one's attention is often the distinguishing factor between those who achieve their goals and those who fall short. But focus is not something that comes naturally to most of us. In fact, it requires effort and intention to cultivate. In a world designed to distract us at every turn, maintaining focus is a skill that must be nurtured. Yet when we begin to truly understand the relationship between focus and reality, we realize that focus is the invisible force that shapes our experience. What you focus on is what you bring into your life. It's not just about being busy. It's about being intentional with where you direct your energy. If you focus on scarcity, you will see scarcity in your life. If you focus on abundance, you will see abundance. The human mind is like a spotlight. It highlights whatever you shine it on. This is why focus is so important. The more you focus on something, the more of it you bring into your reality. For example, think about your goals. Have you ever set a goal that seemed far-fetched, yet with consistent focus and effort you began to see tangible results? This is the power of focus in action. When you direct your attention toward a specific outcome, your energy flows toward that outcome, and the resources you need to achieve it begin to appear. This principle is supported by both scientific research and countless anecdotes of individuals who have achieved extraordinary things simply by maintaining a laser-like focus on their vision. But focus isn't just about directing your attention to something once in a while. It's about consistency. The more consistently you focus on something, the more it becomes ingrained in your life. This is why successful people don't just focus on their goals during the moments of inspiration or motivation. They cultivate the habit of focusing on their goals every single day, regardless of how they feel. They understand that progress isn't always linear, and that persistence is the key to achieving long-term success. When you commit to focusing on your goals, day in and day out, even when it's hard or when distractions arise, you begin to rewire your brain to prioritize those goals above all else. The more you focus, the more you become in tune with the outcome you desire, and the more your actions align with that outcome. Focus not only propels you toward your goals, but also helps you overcome obstacles along the way. When you face challenges, it's easy to get distracted and feel overwhelmed. But when you keep your focus sharp and your attention aligned with your vision, you find that those obstacles become opportunities to grow. Focus doesn't just create reality, it transforms challenges into stepping stones. One of the most powerful examples of the relationship between focus and achievement can be seen in the concept of the 80-20th rule, also known as the Pareto principle. This principle states that roughly 80% of results come from 20% of the efforts. When you understand this principle, it becomes clear that the key to achieving great things is not necessarily about working harder or longer, but about focusing on the most important tasks that will produce the greatest results. The 8020 rule teaches us to focus on the small number of tasks that will yield the most significant outcomes, rather than spreading ourselves too thin. In other words, the quality of our focus is more important than the quantity of tasks we try to accomplish. Once we embrace this concept and focus our attention on the vital few things that matter the most, we begin to unlock exponential progress in every area of our lives. The 8020 principle, focusing on what matters most. The 8020 principle is a game her in understanding how focus works. It teaches us that our time and energy are precious. And when we learn to focus on the things that truly matter, we achieve greater results with less effort. Many people believe that in order to succeed, they need to do more work harder and accomplish as many tasks as possible. However, the 8020 rule flips this belief on its head. It suggests that a small proportion of our efforts are responsible for the majority of our results. In the world of business, for example, the 80-20th rule suggests that 80% of your revenue comes from just 20% of your clients or products. This means that if you want to maximize your productivity and success, you should focus your attention on the 20% that drives the most value. The same principle applies to your personal life. Rather than spreading yourself thin by trying to do everything, focus on the 20% of activities, relationships, and goals that contribute the most to your happiness, fulfillment, and success. The challenge, of course, is determining what that 20% is. It requires awareness and a willingness to prioritize. This is where focus becomes so important. In order to identify the vital few tasks or goals that will produce the greatest results, you must first eliminate the distractions and extraneous activities that consume your time and energy. Ask yourself, what are the activities that truly move the needle in my life? What are the tasks that, when completed, will bring me closer to my most important goals? These are the areas where you need to focus your attention. And once you've identified them, you can begin to let go of the things that don't matter as much. This doesn't mean that other tasks or relationships aren't important, but it does mean that you need to give priority to the things that will have the greatest impact. The 8020 rule is a reminder that focus is about quality, not quantity. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. When you apply the 80-20th principle to your life, you begin to experience a shift in how you approach your goals and your daily activities. You become more intentional with your time, more selective with your commitments, and more focused on the things that will bring you closer to your vision. By learning to focus on the vital few, you eliminate the noise and distractions that can prevent you from reaching your full potential. This principle doesn't just improve your productivity, it frees you from the overwhelm of trying to do everything at once. You realize that by focusing on less, you actually accomplish more, And when you master this art of focused attention, you begin to see exponential growth in every area of your life. Focus versus distraction. Overcoming modern challenges. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. We're constantly bombarded with notifications, emails, phone calls, and the endless stream of information that flows through our devices. It can feel nearly impossible to maintain focus. When so many external factors are vying for our attention, the battle between focus and distraction is a modern-day struggle, and it's one that affects our productivity, our mental health, and our overall sense of well-being. But the truth is, distractions are not just external. They are internal as well. Our minds are naturally inclined to wander, and we often find ourselves lost in thought or daydreaming about things that don't matter. In order to truly harness the power of focus, we must learn to manage both the external distractions and our own wandering thoughts. This requires a combination of mindfulness, self-discipline, and intentionality. One of the most effective strategies for overcoming distractions is to create an environment that supports focus. This means eliminating or minimizing external triggers that pull your attention away from your goals. For example, turning off notifications on your phone or setting specific times during the day to check emails can help you stay focused on the task at hand. But managing distractions also requires an internal shift. It's about training your mind to stay present and engaged, even when it's tempting to wander off course. This is where mindfulness comes in. Practicing mindfulness allows you to observe your thoughts without becoming attached to them. When you notice yourself becoming distracted or losing focus, you can gently bring your attention back to the task at hand. The real danger of this constant distraction is that it keeps us from achieving the level of focus and mental clarity required to achieve our most important goals. Whether we're working on a project, studying for an exam, or simply trying to be present with the people we care about, distractions prevent us from being fully engaged in the moment. As a result, our productivity suffers, and we feel as though we are spinning our wheels, constantly jumping from one task to the next, without ever making significant progress. The digital world has created an environment where our attention is constantly in demand, and it's up to us to decide whether we will succumb to this constant barrage of distractions or take control of our focus. The cost of scattered focus. How multitasking and digital noise affect productivity. The rise of digital distractions has led to the normalization of multitasking. We're encouraged to juggle multiple tasks at once, to check our emails while responding to text messages, to scroll through social media while working on a report, to watch TV while cooking dinner. While this may seem efficient, research shows that multitasking is actually a productivity killer. When we switch between tasks, our brains have to constantly refocus, which takes time and energy. This constant switching between tasks reduces the quality of our work and makes it more difficult to maintain concentration. Studies have shown that people who multitask are more likely to make mistakes, have lower quality work, and experience higher levels of stress. Thesis: because the brain is not designed to handle multiple complex tasks simultaneously. Instead, it works best when we focus on one task at a time, allowing us to give our full attention to the task at hand. The cost of scattered focus goes beyond productivity. It also impacts our cognitive abilities and emotional well-being. When we constantly switch between tasks, we don't give our brains the opportunity to engage in deep thinking or reflection. This prevents us from making meaningful progress on our goals and stifles our creativity. Moreover, the constant influx of information and distractions creates mental clutter, which can lead to feelings of overwhelm and burnout. We may feel like we're constantly busy, but we're not necessarily accomplishing anything of value. This sense over busyness without productivity can be frustrating and disheartening, leaving us feeling unfulfilled and unsatisfied with our work. The result is that we become mentally exhausted, unable to focus on the things that matter most. This is where the real cost of scattered focus lies. It's not just in the tasks we fail to complete, but in the mental and emotional toll it takes on us over time. In addition to the cognitive and emotional costs, there is also the social cost of scattered focus. When we are constantly distracted, we are less able to be present in our relationships. Whether we're spending time with family, friends, or colleagues, distractions prevent us from fully engaging with others. How many times have you found yourself scrolling through your phone while sitting with someone you care about, only to realize that you haven't truly listened to a single word they've said? This kind of scattered focus creates a barrier between us and the people we care about, making it difficult to build meaningful connections. It also prevents us from being present in our own lives, leading to a sense of disconnection and disengagement. The cost of scattered focus is far-reaching. It affects not only our work and productivity, but also our relationships and emotional well-being. Regaining control over attention. Strategies for focusing in a distracting world. So how do we regain control over our attention in a world that is designed to distract us? The first step is to become aware of the distractions in our environment and our own habits. This requires a level of mindfulness and self-awareness that many of us lack. We need to start by asking ourselves, what are the things that distract me the most? Is it my phone, social media, email, television? Once we identify the major sources of distraction, we can take steps to eliminate or minimize them. One effective strategy is to set specific times during the day to check emails, messages, and social media, rather than allowing these distractions to interrupt our work throughout the day. By creating boundaries around when we engage with digital content, we can reduce the constant pull of notifications and create uninterrupted time for deep work. Another powerful technique for regaining control over attention is the practice of time blocking. Time blocking involves setting aside specific blocks of time for focused work, during which you eliminate all distractions and give your full attention to a single task. During these focused work periods, you can turn off your phone, close unnecessary tabs on your computer, and let others know that you are unavailable. By dedicating uninterrupted time to important tasks, you increase the quality of your work and reduce the mental clutter caused by distractions. This allows you to make significant progress on your goals and enhances your ability to focus for longer periods of time. In addition to time blocking, mindfulness and meditation can be incredibly helpful in regaining control over our attention. These practices help us become more aware of our thoughts and feelings, allowing us to observe them without becoming overwhelmed by them. By practicing mindfulness regularly, we train our brains to stay present in the moment, making it easier to focus on the task at hand and resist the urge to be distracted. Meditation in particular has been shown to improve concentration, reduce stress, and enhance cognitive function. By incorporating mindfulness practices into our daily routines, we can strengthen our ability to focus and regain control over our attention. Finally, it's important to remember that focus is a muscle. It needs to be trained and strengthened over time. The more you practice focusing on one thing at a time, the easier it becomes to block out distractions and maintain your attention. This is why it's important to start small. Begin by dedicating short periods of time to focused work and gradually increase the length of time as your concentration improves. Over time, you'll find that you can sustain your focus for longer periods, allowing you to accomplish more and experience greater satisfaction in your work. Chapter 4. Mental discipline equals mental freedom. Mental discipline is one of the most important tools you can cultivate in your life. It is the foundation upon which your ability to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions rests. It is the key to unlocking the power within you and achieving your most significant goals. Yet in a world full of distractions and constant stimulation, mental discipline often feels like an elusive quality. How do we develop the mental fortitude to stay focused on what matters? How do we train our minds to resist the pull of instant gratification and stay committed to our long-term goals? The truth is, mental discipline is not an innate trait. It is a skill that can be cultivated with practice, perseverance, and self-awareness. In this chapter, we will explore the importance of mental discipline, the role of willpower, the power of observation, and practical discipline practices that can help you regain control over your thoughts and actions. By the end of this chapter, you will have the tools and mindset necessary to build the mental discipline that will lead you to greater freedom, focus, and success in your life. Understanding mental discipline, the key to control and freedom. Mental discipline is not about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. It's about developing the ability to consistently make choices that align with your values and long-term goals, even when faced with challenges or distractions. It's about understanding that your thoughts and actions are within your control, and that you have the power to direct them toward your desired outcomes. Mental discipline is the process of training your mind to stay focused on what truly matters, rather than being at the mercy of fleeting desires, impulses, or external circumstances. This ability to control your attention and actions leads to a sense of freedom. Freedom from distractions, freedom from negative habits, and freedom from self-sabotage. When you cultivate mental discipline, you are no longer a passive participant in your life. You become the active creator of your reality. One of the primary reasons mental discipline is so important is that it directly impacts your ability to achieve your goals. Whether your goal is to build a successful career, improve your health, learn a new skill, or strengthen your relationships, mental discipline is the driving force behind your ability to stay committed to the process. It allows you to push through the inevitable obstacles and setbacks that arise, without losing sight of the bigger picture. Without mental discipline, it's easy to get distracted by the many temptations and distractions that surround us on a daily basis. It's easy to give up when things get tough, or to fall into the trap of procrastination. However, when you develop the mental strength to stay focused even in the face of adversity, you unlock a power that is truly transformative. Mental discipline allows you to stay aligned with your highest values and goals, which ultimately leads to a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. In many ways, mental discipline is like a muscle. It needs to be exercised regularly in order to grow stronger. Just as you would work out your physical muscles to improve your strength and endurance, you must also practice exercises that strengthen your mental discipline. This might involve setting small goals, practicing mindfulness, or learning how to resist the urge to give in to distractions. Over time, as you build your mental discipline, you will notice a shift in how you approach challenges and tasks. You will become more focused, more resilient, and more capable of staying the course, even when things get difficult. Mental discipline is not something that can be developed overnight, but with consistent practice and a willingness to stay committed to your goals, you can train your mind to work for you rather than against you. The result is a life filled with greater clarity, productivity, and personal empowerment. The role of willpower, cultivating the strength to stay the course. Willpower is often described as the ability to exert control over one's actions, emotions, or impulses, especially in the face of temptation or difficulty. It is the inner strength that allows you to stay committed to your goals, even when the path is not easy or immediate gratification beckons. Willpower is one of the key components of mental discipline, and it is essential for making progress toward any meaningful goal. Without willpower, it becomes easy to give in to distractions, procrastination, or negative habits that derail your progress. However, willpower is not a finite resource. It can be strengthened over time with consistent practice and intentional effort. One of the most important things to understand about willpower is that it is like a muscle. It can be trained and developed. The more you exercise your willpower, the stronger it becomes. In fact, studies have shown that people who regularly practice self-control in one area of their lives, such as resisting the temptation to eat junk food or sticking to a workout routine, are more likely to demonstrate willpower in other areas as well. This means that cultivating willpower in one aspect of your life can have a ripple effect, improving your overall ability to stay disciplined and focused. For example, if you commit to waking up early every morning to meditate or exercise, you are strengthening your willpower over time. This will make it easier for you to resist distractions and stay focused on other tasks throughout the day. The key to building willpower is to start small and gradually increase the level of difficulty. If you try to exert too much willpower all at once, you may quickly become overwhelmed or burn out. Instead, focus on setting small, achievable goals that allow you to build your willpower gradually. For example, instead of committing to work for 8 hours straight without interruption, start with a shorter block of focused work time, such as 30 minutes. Once you've mastered that, you can gradually extend the time, adding more structure and discipline to your day. This incremental approach helps you build momentum and reinforces the belief that you are capable of exerting control over your actions. In addition to practicing self-control, it is also important to recognize the factors that can deplete your willpower. Just as physical energy is depleted by strenuous activity, willpower can be exhausted by continuous use. This is known as ego depletion, and it occurs when your mental resources are drained from making too many decisions or resisting too many temptations. To avoid willpower burnout, it is important to take breaks, practice self-care, and give yourself time to recharge. The more you understand the dynamics of willpower, the better equipped you will be to manage your energy and stay focused on your long-term goals. The power of observation, becoming the observer of your thoughts. One of the most powerful tools in developing mental discipline is the practice of self-observation. This involves becoming aware of your thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing you to identify patterns of behavior that may be holding you back. Most of us are not aware of the constant stream of thoughts that pass through our minds. We are often so caught up in our internal dialogue that we react impulsively to whatever comes up, rather than consciously choosing how to respond. The ability to observe your thoughts, rather than becoming entangled in them, is a powerful practice that allows you to regain control over your mental state. By observing your thoughts, you can begin to identify the negative or unproductive patterns that may sabotage your ability to focus or stay disciplined. For example, you may notice that when faced with a challenging task, your mind immediately begins to generate thoughts of doubt or fear, such as, "I'm not good enough for this," or "This is too hard." These thoughts can trigger negative emotions and lead to procrastination or avoidance. However, when you practice self-observation, you can recognize these thoughts as they arise and choose not to react to them. Instead of getting caught up in the negativity, you can simply acknowledge the thought and then redirect your attention to the task at hand. This practice of mindfulness allows you to create distance between yourself and your thoughts, empowering you to make more conscious decisions about how to respond. Self-observation also helps you identify the root causes of distractions or impulsive behaviors. For example, if you frequently find yourself reaching for your phone while working on an important task, you may begin to notice the underlying thought or emotion that drives this behavior. Perhaps it's a desire for instant gratification or a need to alleviate boredom. By becoming aware of these triggers, you can take proactive steps to reduce their influence on your behavior. This might involve setting boundaries for phone use, practicing mindfulness to manage cravings, or replacing the behavior with a more productive habit, such as taking a short walk or practicing deep breathing. The practice of self-observation requires patience and commitment. It's not always easy to quiet the mind and simply observe your thoughts, especially in a world full of distractions. However, with consistent practice, you will develop a greater sense of awareness and control over your mental state. This heightened awareness will help you cultivate mental discipline, allowing you to stay focused, resist distractions, and make more intentional decisions in your life. Ultimately, the more you practice observation, the more you will realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. This realization is a power step toward achieving mental freedom, as it allows you to break free from the patterns of thinking and behavior that no longer serve you. Chapter 5. Identifying and eliminating negative thought patterns. We all have a mental narrative and inner dialogue that continuously shapes the way we perceive ourselves, the world, and our potential. This inner voice can be empowering and uplifting, or it can be filled with doubts, criticisms, and limitations. The challenge we often face in life is not the circumstances we encounter, but how we perceive and interpret those circumstances through our thoughts. Negative thought patterns, if left unchecked, can undermine our self-worth, fuel anxiety, hinder our growth, and create self-fulfilling prophecies. However, recognizing and eliminating these negative patterns is a transformative journey. By understanding the nature of our subconscious mind, identifying harmful thought loops, and reframing negative thoughts, we can reclaim control over our mental state and shift the trajectory of our lives. This chapter is dedicated to helping you identify the negative thought patterns that hold you back and providing actionable steps to replace them with empowering beliefs that support your goals and dreams. The subconscious mind, the hidden force behind negative thoughts. To begin the journey of identifying and eliminating negative thought patterns, it's essential to understand the subconscious mind, the part of our mind that operates below the level of conscious awareness. The subconscious mind is responsible for storing our beliefs, memories, emotions, and habits. It plays a critical role in shaping how we think, feel, and behave. While the conscious mind is the rational, analytical part of our brain, the subconscious mind governs automatic thoughts and responses. The negative thought patterns we experience often originate from deep-seated beliefs stored in our subconscious, many of which were formed in childhood or early life experiences. These beliefs can be influenced by past trauma, societal conditioning, or messages we internalized from authority figures, peers, or media. One of the most challenging aspects of the subconscious mind is that it operates outside of our conscious awareness. We may not even realize that certain thoughts are being driven by subconscious beliefs until we become more attuned to our mental processes. For example, a person who believes they are not good enough may experience frequent thoughts of inadequacy or self-doubt, even in situations where they are objectively capable. These thoughts might manifest as inner criticisms, like "you're going to fail" or "you don't deserve success." These negative thought patterns are often deeply ingrained and automatic, but they are not insurmountable. By becoming aware of these beliefs and their influence on our thinking, we can begin to challenge them and replace them with more empowering, supportive thoughts. The subconscious mind also tends to reinforce negative thoughts by focusing on evidence that confirms them. This phenomenon is known as confirmation bias, our tendency to selectively notice and remember information that supports our pre-existing beliefs while dismissing or overlooking contradictory evidence. If you believe you're not good enough, you may unconsciously seek out situations or feedback that confirms this belief, further solidifying the negative thought pattern. The key to breaking free from this cycle is awareness. By bringing these subconscious beliefs to the surface, we can examine them objectively and begin to shift the narrative. Recognizing negative thought loops the cycle of self-sabotage. Negative thought loops are recurring, self-perpetuating patterns of thinking that can trap us in a cycle of doubt, fear, and self-sabotage. These thought loops often manifest as repetitive thoughts that replay in our minds over and over again, reinforcing negative beliefs and emotions. For example, someone who struggles with low self-esteem might repeatedly think, "I'm not worthy of love," "I'll never be successful," or "I always mess things up." These thoughts create a mental loop where each thought leads to the next, building upon and strengthening the original belief. As these thoughts loop through the mind, they can create emotional and behavioral patterns that reinforce the negativity. Recognizing negative thought loops is the first step toward breaking free from their hold. One of the most common types of negative thought loops is catastrophizing, where we imagine the worst possible outcome in any given situation. This might manifest as thoughts like, "If I make this presentation, everyone will think I'm incompetent," or "If I try to ask for a promotion, I'll be rejected and it will ruin my career." Catastrophizing tends to amplify fear and anxiety, making us paralyzed with the belief that disaster is imminent, even if the situation doesn't warrant such a response. Another common thought loop is perfectionism, where we believe that unless something is done perfectly, it is a failure. This can lead to procrastination, as we fear starting something because we are convinced it won't meet our unrealistic standards. The key to breaking negative thought loops is to catch them early. Often these loops can feel like an avalanche of negative thoughts that escalate out of control. However, by developing mindfulness and self-awareness, we can interrupt these patterns before they spiral. Start by noticing when a negative thought pops up, instead of automatically accepting it as truth. Pause and ask yourself whether the thought is based on facts or assumptions. Are you over-exaggerating the situation? Are you imagining the worst-case scenario without evidence? By questioning your thoughts and challenging their validity, you begin to weaken the grip they have on you. Over time, this practice will become more automatic, allowing you to break free from the cycle of negativity and shift your mindset toward more rational and empowering thoughts. Another powerful way to interrupt negative thought loops is to practice cognitive reframing. This involves consciously changing the way you interpret a situation. For example, instead of thinking, "I always mess up," try thinking, "I didn't do as well as I hoped this time, but I can learn from my mistakes and improve next time." By reframing your thoughts in a more constructive light, you shift the focus from self-criticism to growth and opportunity. This practice helps to breathe negative feedback loop and replace it with a more positive and productive cycle of thinking. Reframing negative thoughts, turning challenges into opportunities. Once you have identified and recognized negative thought patterns and loops, the next step is to reframe them. Reframing is the process of changing the way we view a situation or challenge in order to gain a more empowering perspective. It is about shifting from a mindset of scarcity, fear, or defeat to one of abundance, possibility, and growth. When wireframe our thoughts, we change our relationship to our experiences. Instead of seeing ourselves as victims of circumstance, we begin to see ourselves as active participants in shaping our reality. Reframing allows us to turn obstacles into stepping stones and challenges into opportunities for growth. For example, instead of viewing a failure as proof of incompetence, we can reframe it as a valuable learning experience. Rather than saying, "I failed, so I'll never succeed," we can say, "I failed, but now I know what doesn't work and I can adjust my approach next time." This shift in perspective opens up new possibilities for growth and allows us to approach challenges with greater resilience. Reframing also helps us to detach from the negative emotions that often accompany failure, such as shame, guilt, or frustration. When we view setbacks as part of the learning process, we can move forward without being weighed down by negative emotions. Another way to reframe negative thoughts is to practice gratitude. When we focus on what is going well in our lives, rather than what is wrong, we shift our mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. For instance, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the demands of your job, instead of thinking, "I hate this job, it's too much," try reframing the thought to, "I'm grateful for the opportunity to work, and I am learning valuable skills that will benefit me in the future." This subtle shift in perspective can significantly alter how you approach challenges and make it easier to maintain a positive, solution-oriented mindset. Reframing is not about denying the difficulties or challenges you face. It is about changing your internal dialogue to one that supports your growth and progress. By reframing negative thoughts, you move from a state of powerlessness to one of empowerment. You begin to see yourself as someone who is capable of overcoming obstacles, learning from mistakes, and ultimately achieving success. This shift in mindset will not only improve your emotional state, but will also help you take more productive and decisive actions toward your goals. Chapter 6. The Role of Self-Talk. Self-talk is one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal. It is the internal dialogue that runs through our minds at every waking moment, shaping our perceptions, guiding our actions, and influencing our overall emotional well-being. Whether we realize it or not, the things we say to ourselves, the words we use, and the tone in which we speak them have a profound impact on our reality. Our thoughts and beliefs are directly influenced by the self-talk that we engage in, and this internal dialogue can either empower or diminish our ability to succeed, grow, and thrive. The goal of this chapter is to explore the nature of self-talk, how it affects our lives, and how we can transform negative self-talk into a powerful tool for positive change. The power of internal dialogue shaping our reality. The way we talk to ourselves is often the most consistent and influential conversation we will ever have. The internal dialogue that flows through our minds is constantly reinforcing beliefs, self-perceptions, and narratives about who we are and what we are capable of. Think about a moment when you were about to face a challenging situation, perhaps an important presentation, a difficult conversation, or a high-pressure task. Before stepping into that moment, did you hear words of encouragement or words of doubt echoing in your mind? Did you tell yourself, "I can do this"? Or did you hear, "I'm not good enough for this," or "I'm going to fail"? These internal messages are not just fleeting thoughts. They are the mental filters through which we perceive and respond to the world. The more we reinforce negative or limiting self-talk, the more it shapes our experience of reality. Conversely, when we practice positive, supportive, and empowering self-talk, we begin to shift our perceptions and behaviors in ways that can have profound impact on our outcomes. The power of internal dialogue lies in its ability to influence both our emotions and our actions. When we speak negatively to ourselves, we invite feelings of fear, anxiety, and self-doubt. This often leads to inaction, procrastination, or avoidance of situations that might challenge us. For example, someone preparing for a job interview might engage in self-talk such as, "I'm not qualified enough," or "they'll never hire me." This negative self-talk sets the stage for a lack of confidence, making it more difficult to perform at their best during the interview. On the other hand, if that same person were to replace those negative thoughts with statements like, "I've prepared well for this interview," or "I have valuable skills to offer," the internal dialogue would shift to one of empowerment. This would not only help alleviate anxiety, but also enhance their performance as they approach the interview with a greater sense of self-belief and readiness. Additionally, self-talk impacts our emotional state. Research in the field of psychology has shown that our thoughts directly influence our emotions. If we tell ourselves, "This situation is impossible, I'll never succeed," we will likely feel discouraged, helpless, and frustrated. However, when we reframe that thought and say, "This is a challenge, but I have the skills to handle it," we create space for feelings of hope, determination, and resilience. This shift in emotional state can make all the difference in how we approach obstacles and setbacks. In this way, self-talk is not just a reflection of our thoughts, but also an active force that shapes our experience of the world and our ability to navigate it successfully. Common negative self-talk patterns, identifying limiting beliefs. While self-talk has the potential to be empowering, many of us unknowingly engage in negative patterns of thinking that limit our potential and hold us back from achieving our goals. Negative self-talk often stems from limiting beliefs, deeply ingrained ideas about ourselves and the world around us that restrict our ability to grow and thrive. These limiting beliefs can take many forms, such as feelings of inadequacy, fear of failure, or beliefs about our lack of worthiness. Some of the most common negative self-talk patterns include all or nothing thinking, catastrophizing, self-criticism, and imposter syndrome. All or nothing thinking is a cognitive distortion that leads us to view situations in extremes. For example, if we make a mistake, we may think, "I failed completely," or "I'm a total failure." This type of thinking fails to acknowledge the nuance of any situation and can prevent us from seeing the progress we've made or the lessons we've learned. It encourages perfectionism and creates a mindset that anything less than perfect is unacceptable. In reality, no one is perfect, and mistakes are an inevitable part of growth and learning. By replacing all or nothing thinking with more balanced, realistic thoughts, such as, "I made a mistake, but I can learn from it," we begin to release the pressure of perfectionism and embrace the process of improvement. Catastrophizing is another common negative self-talk pattern where we tend to imagine the worst possible outcome in any situation. We may find ourselves thinking, "If I fail this exam, I'll never get a good job," or "If I make a mistake at work, I'll be fired." This pattern of thinking amplifies our fears and anxiety, making us more likely to avoid challenges rather than confront them. Catastrophizing often ignores the reality that most situations are not as dire as we imagine them to be. By challenging these exaggerated thoughts and asking ourselves, what is the worst-case scenario, and how likely is it to happen, we can often see that our fears are exaggerated and unfounded. Self-criticism is another form of negative self-talk that can be debilitating. Many of us have an inner critic that constantly judges, blames, and criticizes us, often for things that are out of our control or for small mistakes that do not define our worth. This inner critic may say things like, "You're not good enough, you should be better," or "You'll never achieve your goals." This self-critical voice undermines our self-esteem and leads to feelings of shame, guilt, and inadequacy. The key to overcoming self-criticism is to replace these thoughts with self-compassion. Rather than berating ourselves for imperfections, we can offer ourselves kindness and understanding, recognizing that we are all human and deserving of love and respect. By treating ourselves with the same compassion we would offer a friend, we begin to foster a more positive and supportive inner dialogue. Finally, imposter syndrome is a pervasive form of negative self-talk that often affects high-achieving individuals. It is characterized by feelings of being a fraud or not deserving of success, despite evidence to the contrary. People experiencing imposter syndrome may think, "I don't deserve this promotion," or "I'm not as qualified as others think I am." This type of self-talk can lead to constant self-doubt and a fear of being found out. To combat imposter syndrome, it's important to remind ourselves of our accomplishments, skills, and unique value. Recognizing that success is the result of hard work, perseverance, and ability, not luck or chance, can help to quiet the inner voice of self-doubt and foster a greater sense of self-worth. Transforming self-talk techniques for positive change. The good news is that self-talk is not set in stone. It is a habit one that can be changed with practice and awareness. The key to transforming negative self-talk is to recognize when it occurs, challenge its validity, and consciously replace it with more positive, supportive thoughts. This process is known as cognitive restructuring, and it involves intentionally changing the way we think about ourselves and our circumstances. One powerful technique for transforming self-talk is to practice affirmations. Affirmations are positive present tense statements that are designed to reinforce empowering beliefs and shift our mindset toward positivity. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," you might say, "I am capable, deserving, and worthy of success." By repeating affirmations regularly, especially when negative thoughts arise, you begin to reprogram your mind to believe in your own potential. Another technique for transforming self-talk is visualization. Visualization is the practice of mentally imagining yourself succeeding in a particular situation. For example, if you have an upcoming presentation, you can visualize yourself speaking confidently, engaging the audience, and delivering your message with ease. This exercise helps to shift your self-talk from one of doubt to one of self-assurance. It also serves to familiarize your mind with success, making it easier to manifest positive outcomes in real life. Visualization can be particularly effective when combined with deep breathing exercises to help calm the nervous system and reduce stress. Gratitude is another powerful tool for transforming self-talk. When we focus on what we are grateful for, we shift our attention away from self-criticism and scarcity toward abundance and positivity. By regularly practicing gratitude, we create a more optimistic internal dialogue. For example, when faced with a difficult situation, instead of thinking, "This is terrible, I can't handle it," try shifting your perspective with a thought like, "I'm grateful for the opportunity to grow through this challenge," or "I'm thankful for the lessons I'm learning from this experience." By consistently practicing gratitude, we retrain our minds to focus on the positive aspects of life, even in difficult circumstances. Finally, developing mindfulness is essential for transforming self-talk. Mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts without judgment, creating a space between stimulus and response. When we become aware of our negative self-talk, we can choose not to react impulsively or automatically. Instead, we can consciously choose a response that aligns with our values and aspirations. Mindfulness helps us to detach from the automatic negative thoughts that arise and encourages us to approach ourselves with kindness, patience, and understanding. Chapter 7. Focus and Emotional Energy. In the intricate dance of human behavior, emotions play a crucial role in determining not only how we perceive the world, but also how we direct our attention and focus. If you've ever found yourself trying to concentrate on a task while feeling overwhelmed with stress, anger, or sadness, you know how challenging it can be to maintain focus in the midst of strong emotional currents. Our emotions, whether positive or negative, have an undeniable influence on where we place our attention and how deeply we engage with the world around us. Understanding the interplay between focus and emotional energy is essential for mastering mental discipline and unlocking our full potential. In this chapter, we will explore the connection between emotions and focus. strategies for managing emotional distractions, and ways to cultivate emotional resilience to enhance our ability to focus even in the face of adversity. How emotions affect focus. The intricate connection between mind and body. At its core, focus is the ability to direct our mental energy toward a specific task or goal, filtering out distractions and ignoring irrelevant stimuli. However, this ability to focus is significantly impacted by our emotional state. Emotions in many ways are the energy and motion within us. They arise in response to external events and internal thoughts, influencing not only how we feel, but also how we behave and think. Positive emotions such as joy, excitement, and curiosity tend to increase our energy levels and enhance our ability to concentrate. When we're excited about something, whether it's a new project or an upcoming event, our focus sharpens and we feel more driven to engage with the task at hand. On the other hand, negative emotions such as fear, anxiety, anger, and sadness can have the opposite effect, leading to distractions, mental fatigue, and a general sense of being scattered. When we're emotionally charged, our brain releases chemicals like cortisol, the stress hormone, and adrenaline, which can cause a state of hyperarousal. In such a state, the mind is often pulled in many different directions, unable to settle on a single thought or task. For instance, if you're feeling anxious about an upcoming deadline, your focus may be consumed by worries about potential failure, making it harder to dedicate your attention to the task itself. The more intense the emotion, the more our focus is hijacked by the emotional energy, making it difficult to process information clearly and rationally. In extreme cases, emotional states can even lead to what's called cognitive overload, where the sheer volume of emotional stimuli overwhelms the brain, leading to a breakdown in concentration and decision. Interestingly, the body also reacts to emotional fluctuations by creating physical sensations that impact our ability to focus. When we experience strong emotions, our heart rate increases, our muscles tense, and we may even feel physical discomfort, such as a tight chest or a stomach ache. These physical responses can further hinder our ability to concentrate as the mind becomes preoccupied with the body's discomfort. This creates a cycle where emotional energy disrupts mental clarity, and mental distractions exacerbate emotional turmoil, leading to a reduced capacity to focus. Understanding this connection is crucial because it empowers us to break the cycle of emotional distractions and regain control over our attention. Managing emotional distractions. Practical strategies for focus. The key to improving focus is learning to manage emotional distractions. Emotions are natural and unavoidable, but how we respond to them determines whether they will hinder or help our ability to concentrate. One of the most effective ways to manage emotional distractions is through mindfulness, an approach that involves becoming aware of our emotions without getting caught up in them. By practicing mindfulness, we can observe our emotions as they arise, label them without judgment, and allow them to pass through us rather than becoming consumed by them. For instance, if you feel anxious before an important meeting, you can acknowledge the emotion by saying to yourself, "I feel nervous right now," without letting that emotion take over your focus. Instead of allowing the anxiety to distract you from the task at hand, you can return your attention to your breath and the present moment, grounding yourself in the here and now. Another effective strategy for managing emotional distractions is cognitive reframing. Cognitive reframing involves changing the way we interpret or think about a situation, particularly when negative emotions are at play. For example, if you're feeling frustrated with a challenging project, instead of viewing the situation as insurmountable, you can reframe it by thinking, "This challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow." By shifting our perspective, we change the emotional energy attached to the situation, allowing us to approach it with a calmer, more focused mindset. Cognitive reframing works by helping us break free from automatic emotional reactions, which often cloud our ability to think clearly and make effective decisions. Reframing allows us to harness emotional energy for constructive purposes, rather than letting it become an obstacle to focus. In addition to mindfulness and cognitive reframing, physical techniques such as deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, and grounding exercises can also help manage emotional distractions. Deep breathing, for instance, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which counteracts the body's stress response and induces a state of relaxation. By practicing slow, deep breaths, inhale for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 4, you can immediately reduce the intensity of your emotions and regain focus. Progressive muscle relaxation involves systematically tensing and releasing muscle groups to release physical tension, which in turn helps calm the mind. Grounding exercises such as feeling the texture of an object in your hand or paying attention to the sensations in your feet as they touch the ground can also help you return to the present moment and refocus when emotions are pulling you away. These techniques not only soothe the body, but also clear the mind, allowing you to regain control over your attention and focus. Cultivating emotional resilience, strengthening focus in the face of adversity. While managing emotional distractions is crucial, it's equally important to cultivate emotional resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity and maintain focus even when life presents challenges. Emotional resilience is the capacity to navigate stress, setbacks, and difficult emotions without allowing them to derail our attention or sense of purpose. Building emotional resilience requires developing mindset that views challenges as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable obstacles. People who possess emotional resilience are able to stay focused and composed under pressure, even in the face of setbacks or adversity. One way to build emotional resilience is to practice self-compassion. Self-compassion involves treating yourself with kindness and understanding. When you experience failure or difficulty, rather than criticizing yourself or succumbing to self-blame, by embracing a more compassionate attitude toward yourself, you create a psychological safety net that allows you to face challenges without feeling overwhelmed or discouraged. When you're able to recognize that mistakes and setbacks are a natural part of life, rather than personal failures, you can maintain your focus on the task at hand and continue moving forward. Practicing self-compassion helps buffer the emotional impact of challenges, enabling you to approach them with a greater sense of clarity and purpose. Another important aspect of emotional resiliency is the ability to reframe negative emotions as sources of energy rather than threats to focus. When we experience strong emotions, whether it's fear, anger, or frustration, our body generates a surge of energy that, if harnessed correctly, can fuel our focus and drive. For instance, if you feel angry about a situation at work, rather than allowing that anger to derail your concentration, you can use it as a motivating force to take action and solve the problem. This requires a mindset shift from seeing emotions as obstacles to viewing them as potential sources of power. When you learn to channel emotional energy in a constructive way, you transform emotional turbulence into focus and determination. Lastly, maintaining a strong sense of purpose is key to cultivating emotional resilience. When we are deeply connected to our values and goals, it becomes easier to stay focused, even in challenging times. Knowing why you're doing something, the underlying purpose behind your actions, can provide a steady anchor in the midst of emotional storms. When faced with adversity, reminding yourself of your bigger vision can help you regain perspective and refocus your energy on what truly matters. Emotional resilience is not about avoiding negative emotions, but rather about strengthening your ability to stay focused and aligned with your purpose, regardless of the emotional turbulence that may arise. Chapter 8. The flow state, a deeper focus. Flow is a term used by psychologists to describe a mental state in which a person becomes fully immersed in an activity to the point where they lose track of time, self-consciousness, and any sense of external distractions. When someone enters a state of flow, their focus is razor sharp and they operate at the peak of their abilities. Achieving this level of concentration allows individuals to perform at their best, be it in work, creativity, or any other pursuit that requires high levels of engagement. In this chapter, we will explore what flow is, how to create the right conditions for it, and how to maintain it to boost both productivity and fulfillment. We will also delve into the science behind the flow state, discussing the powerful role it plays in optimizing performance and the immense satisfaction it brings. To truly understand flow, we need to appreciate both the internal and external factors that contribute to entering this extraordinary state of being. What is flow? The psychology behind deep engagement. The concept of flow was introduced by Hungarian psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who spent decades studying what makes human experiences meaningful. Flow is a state where individuals feel completely absorbed in their activity. During this state, the brain is fully engaged, and the individual is so connected to what they are doing that the usual distractions, thoughts of the past, or worries about the future disappear. This deep immersion leads to a sense of timelessness, where the individual might work for hours without noticing the passing of time. But flow is not merely about losing track of time. It is about experiencing complete and effortless involvement in an activity that is both challenging and rewarding. Mihaly discovered that the flow state is most likely to occur when a person is working on something that is challenging, but still within their skill set. If the challenge is too great, it leads to anxiety, while if the challenge is too small, boredom sets in. Flow is found in the sweet spot between these two extremes. In this zone, a person is not overburdened by the task, nor are they underwhelmed by it. They are exactly in the right zone of challenge, where their skills can be fully tested and engaged. For example, if you're working on a project that's slightly more difficult than anything you've done before, you might experience a burst of energy and focus as your brain rises to the occasion, using all its capacity to solve the problem at hand. The task must present enough of a challenge to keep you engaged, yet not be so difficult that it overwhelms you. One of the most defining features of flow is the complete sense of involvement that it produces. People who experience flow often describe feeling that their actions are effortless, as though they are in the zone. The usual barriers to performance, such as self-doubt, fear of failure or distractions from the environment seem to vanish, leaving only a sense of complete unity between mind and body. The person in flow may feel as though they are performing at the peak of their abilities, and their performance may be far beyond what they could achieve in a normal state. In the flow state, the sense of effort disappears, and the individual is instead propelled by an intrinsic motivation driven by the pleasure of the activity itself. Whether writing, painting, coding, or playing an instrument, the experience is marked by a deep sense of satisfaction and creativity. Conditions for entering flow. How to set yourself up for success. While entering a flow state is often associated with certain mental traits, it is also dependent on external factors. The right conditions must be in place for flow to occur. One of the most crucial conditions is a balance between skill and challenge, as mentioned earlier. However, flow is not simply about finding the right challenge. It is also about minimizing distractions and creating an environment conducive to deep focus. The external environment plays a significant role in whether or not we can enter the flow state. Distractions, noise, interruptions, and even clutter can prevent us from achieving the level of concentration required for flow to take over. To optimize the chances of experiencing flow, it is essential to set up a space where we can work undisturbed, whether that means turning off our phone, closing unnecessary tabs on the computer, or finding a quiet location where we can immerse ourselves in the task without external distractions. Another key component of flow is having clear goals. The individual must know exactly what they are trying to accomplish, and there must be clear markers of progress along the way. In the absence of clear goals, it becomes easy to lose direction or feel aimless. A clear sense of purpose provides structure and focus, which are essential for flow to manifest. For example, if you are writing a novel, the clear goal might be to write a certain number of words per day or to finish a particular chapter. If you are working on a business proposal, the goal might be to complete the research phase or to draft a specific section. These goals serve as guiding points, keeping the mind anchored to the task and offering a sense of accomplishment as you progress. Creating the right mental state is also vital for achieving flow. This means cultivating the ability to focus deeply on the present moment and disengage from distractions. One of the best ways to do this is through mindfulness. Mindfulness techniques such as meditation help calm the mind and prepare it for intense focus. Mindfulness practices teach individuals to become aware of their thoughts without getting caught up in them. By practicing mindfulness regularly, you train your brain to focus on one thing at a time, thus enhancing the likelihood of entering a flow state when the conditions are right. Many people who experience flow regularly attribute their success to consistent mindfulness practices, which help clear the mental clutter that can interfere with peak performance. Benefits of flow: unlocking peak performance and fulfillment. The flow state is not just about achieving high levels of productivity, though that is certainly one of its benefits. Flow is also a deeply fulfilling experience that can lead to profound feelings of satisfaction, creativity, and well-being. People who regularly experience flow report higher levels of happiness and a greater sense of life satisfaction. This is because flow is intrinsically motivating. It is not driven by external rewards like money or recognition, but by the joy of the activity itself. When a person is in flow, they are completely absorbed in what they are doing, and the act of engaging with the task is reward enough. This intrinsic motivation leads to higher quality work and a greater sense of fulfillment regardless of the outcome. In addition to increased satisfaction, flow enhances cognitive performance. Research has shown that people in flow perform better on tasks that require complex problem-solving, creativity, and deep thinking. This is due to the fact that flow optimizes brain function. In the flow state, the brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for higher-order functions like decision and self-control, becomes highly active. However, other areas of the brain that are involved in self-judgment and critical thinking quiet down, allowing for effortless creative thinking. This means that during flow, people are able to tap into their full cognitive potential without being held back by self-doubt, overthinking, or external pressures. It is often during moments of flow that people come up with their most innovative ideas or produce their best work. Flow also provides a sense of deep connection to the activity being performed. This deep engagement can create a sense of meaning and purpose that extends beyond the task itself. When we enter a state of flow, we feel as though we are living in the present moment, fully aligned with our actions. This is a stark contrast to the feeling of being busy or distracted, where we might feel like we are constantly rushing through tasks without truly engaging with them. The feeling of deep presence and flow allows individuals to connect with their passion, creativity, and intrinsic motivations, leading to greater satisfaction and long-term fulfillment. It is in this state that many people experience peak performance, not only in their work, but in all areas of their lives, from relationships to hobbies to personal growth. Flow is not just for athletes, artists, or high performers. It is something that can be cultivated in any area of life. Whether you're working on a project, engaging in a hobby, or simply trying to be present in your daily activities, you can learn to enter the flow state by creating the right conditions, setting clear goals, and practicing mindfulness. Flow is a tool that can help you maximize your potential, enhance your productivity, and find fulfillment in the process of doing the work itself. As we continue to explore the concept of focus and how it shapes our lives, it's important to remember that flow is not a static state, but a dynamic process that we can enter and exit throughout the day. By recognizing the conditions that lead to flow, and by practicing the techniques that help us get into this state, we can tap into our greatest strengths and unlock new levels of creativity and productivity. Embracing flow is one of the most powerful ways to harness the full potential of our minds and lead a life that is both productive and deeply satisfying. Chapter 9. The power of visualizing focus. Visualization, often referred to as mental imagery, is a powerful technique that allows us to create vivid images and scenarios in our minds, guiding our focus and enhancing our ability to achieve our goals. It is not just about dreaming or daydreaming. It is about actively using the mind to shape our reality and direct our energy towards a specific outcome. In this chapter, we will explore the science behind visualization, its connection to focus, and the practical techniques that can help you harness the full potential of your mind through this process. Visualization is a tool that has been used by athletes, performers, business leaders, and anyone striving to improve their focus and performance. When done properly, visualization has the power to transform both our mindset and our ability to succeed in the endeavors we care about most. Visualization as a focus practice, training the mind to stay on track At its core, visualization is a process that involves creating a mental image of an event or action that you wish to experience. This practice goes beyond merely imagining the end result. It involves mentally rehearsing every step of the process, feeling the emotions associated with success, and picturing every detail of the scenario in your mind's eye. The more vividly you can imagine a situation, the more you train your brain to perform that action in real life. For example, when athletes visualize themselves making a perfect shot, completing a race, or performing a difficult routine, they are not just imagining the end goal, but mentally rehearsing every motion, every sensation, and every outcome that they want to manifest. The more real and tangible this mental picture becomes, the more your brain prepares for success in real life. But how does visualization work? The power of visualization lies in the brain's ability to treat imagined experiences as real ones. Studies have shown that the brain activates the same neural networks when we imagine an action as when we actually perform it. This is due to the concept of neuroplasticity, which suggests that the brain can reorganize itself by forming new neural connections, and based on the experiences we engage with, including mental experiences. Essentially, when we visualize an action, the brain strengthens the neural pathways associated with that action, making it easier to execute it in reality. This is why athletes and performers use visualization techniques to enhance their abilities, because it primes their brain for the task ahead, making their actual performance more fluid and instinctual. Similarly, when you visualize yourself achieving a goal, whether it's finishing a project, giving a successful presentation, or achieving a personal milestone, your brain becomes conditioned to focus on the necessary steps to reach that goal. Visualization becomes a tool for guiding your focus, keeping your attention on the desired outcome, and helping you stay motivated throughout the process. By regularly practicing visualization, you are training your brain to stay on track and push through challenges. You are teaching it to remain calm and focused in the face of potential distractions or setbacks, and to maintain a sense of purpose and direction. This mental training can be incredibly powerful in helping you overcome obstacles and stay committed to your goals. One of the greatest advantages of visualization is that it allows you to mentally rehearse the process of achieving your goal. So when the time comes to act, you have already experienced it in your mind. This mental rehearsal can reduce anxiety and increase your confidence, making it easier to perform under pressure and stay focused on what matters most. The neuroscience of visualization. Understanding the science behind mental imagery. The science behind visualization is rooted in the way our brain processes information and adapts to new experiences. When we visualize an event or action, our brain activates the same neural circuits as when we physically perform the task. This phenomenon has been studied extensively in neuroscience, with researchers finding that the brain doesn't distinguish between an action that is actually happening and one that is vividly imagined. For instance, when you imagine yourself running a race, your brain fires off the same neurons that would be activated if you were actually running. This is true for both physical and cognitive tasks. Whether you are imagining yourself playing a musical instrument, solving a complex problem, or giving a speech, the brain reacts in the same way as it would if you were actively engaged in the task. One of the key areas involved in this process is the motor cortex, the region of the brain responsible for planning and executing movements. The motor cortex becomes activated during visualization, allowing the brain to rehearse the movements required to perform a task. In fact, research has shown that professional athletes who use visualization techniques have enhanced motor performance and improved reaction times. This is because their brains have already practiced the necessary movements and processes through mental imagery, making it easier for their bodies to execute them in real life. Similarly, studies have shown that visualization can help improve memory, decision and problem-solving skills as the brain becomes more adept at processing and responding to information during visualization exercises. Visualization also impacts other areas of the brain, including the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in decision planning and focus. When we visualize an event or goal, we activate the prefrontal cortex, helping to enhance our focus on the task at hand. This is why visualization is such an effective tool for staying on track and avoiding distractions. By rehearsing the process in our minds, we prime our brain to stay focused and committed to the steps necessary to achieve our goals. In essence, visualization rewires the brain to align with our desired outcomes, enhancing our ability to concentrate and maintain motivation over time. Moreover, visualization can activate the limbic system, which governs our emotional responses. When we imagine a positive outcome, our brain releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter associated with motivation and pleasure. This chemical response not only boosts our mood, but also reinforces the neural pathways associated with the positive behavior or goal we are visualizing. This is why athletes and performers often report feeling more confident and energized after visualization exercises. It primes them for success by creating an emotional connection to their desired outcomes. The emotional benefits of visualization are profound, as they help to reduce stress, increase resilience, and foster a positive mindset. By mentally experiencing success and positive emotions in advance, we prepare ourselves to perform at our best when the time comes. Visualization techniques for clarity. Practical exercises to strengthen your focus. Visualization is a skill that can be developed with practice. To begin, it is important to create a clear and vivid mental image of your desired goal. Start by imagining yourself in the exact situation you want to experience. Picture the environment, the people involved, and the sensations you would feel. The more detailed and sensory-rich your visualization, the more effective it will be. For example, if you are visualizing giving a presentation, imagine the room you'll be speaking in, the audience's reactions, the words you will say, and the confidence you will feel. Engage all of your senses in the mental imagery, allowing yourself to see, hear, feel, and even smell the experience. The more real you make it in your mind, the more powerful the impact will be on your brain and your ability to focus on the task. Once you have your mental image, it's time to mentally rehearse the process of achieving your goal. This could involve imagining each step you need to take in order to succeed. If you're working on a project, visualize the specific tasks you need to complete, the obstacles you might face, and the strategies you'll use to overcome them. As you visualize, try to imagine any challenges that might arise and mentally rehearse how you would respond to them. By doing so, you prepare yourself for the inevitable hurdles along the way, reducing anxiety and increasing your ability to stay focused and calm under pressure. Another technique is future self visualization, which involves imagining yourself at a future point in time, having already achieved your goal. Picture yourself looking back on the journey with pride and satisfaction. This technique helps reinforce your commitment to the goal and reminds you of the positive feelings associated with success. It also helps you to stay focused on the bigger picture rather than getting caught up in temporary setbacks or distractions. Future self. Visualization provides clarity as it allows you to align your current actions with your long-term vision, reinforcing your sense of purpose and direction. A powerful addition to visualization practice is the use of positive affirmations. Pair your visualizations with affirmations that reinforce the mental imagery you're creating. For example, if you're visualizing yourself delivering a successful presentation, you could say to yourself, "I am confident, clear, and in control. I have the knowledge and skills to succeed." These affirmations work in tandem with visualization to strengthen your focus and belief in your ability to achieve the desired outcome. Together, they create a potent combination that primes your brain for success, improves your concentration, and helps you maintain a laser-like focus on your goals. Chapter 10. Creating Focus Habits. Our ability to focus and maintain sustained attention isn't just a matter of willpower. It's deeply influenced by our habits. The brain thrives on routine, and our daily actions shape how well we can direct our thoughts and maintain a sharp focus. Habits, whether we are conscious of them or not, dictate the trajectory of our lives. When we create strong focus-enhancing habits, we set ourselves up for success. The way we start our day, how we structure our time, and the little choices we make throughout each day all contribute to our ability to stay focused on our most important goals. In this chapter, we will explore how habits influence focus, how to build routines that strengthen our attention, and practical steps for overcoming distractions to create a life of focused intention. Habits shape your focus. How daily actions influence attention. The foundation of focus begins with our habits. Every day we engage in countless small decisions, many of which can either strengthen or weaken our ability to concentrate. Whether we recognize it or not, we are constantly shaping our focus through the actions we take. For instance, how you start your day is incredibly important. If you begin your morning by scrolling through social media, checking emails, or jumping into work-related tasks without a clear intention, you may set yourself up for a scattered, distracted day. Your brain becomes accustomed to a constant influx of information and a reactive state, which makes it difficult to focus on more demanding tasks. On the other hand, if you begin your day with a clear intention, prioritize your most important tasks, and engage in a mindful morning routine, you are setting the tone for the rest of the day. The habits you cultivate in the morning have a profound impact on your mental state, the level of focus you can sustain, and the way you approach your work. Beyond your morning routine, your daily actions throughout the day are what determine your ability to focus. This could be as simple as structuring your time, effectively breaking down your tasks into manageable chunks, and setting specific goals. Focus thrives when we work with intention and purpose. When you build habits that support this mindset, you are creating an environment in which your brain can remain engaged and energized. Research has shown that the more organized and structured our routines are, the more likely we are to remain focused. This structure creates predictability, which helps the brain manage energy and focus more effectively. Habits such as time blocking, setting priorities, and using focus techniques like the Pomodoro method can help you stay on track and minimize distractions. In addition to external habits, the internal habits of our thoughts also play a major role in shaping our focus. How we think about tasks, challenges, and our own abilities can either hinder or strengthen our focus. If we approach a task with a mindset of stress, uncertainty, or self-doubt, our focus tends to waver. But when we cultivate a mindset of confidence, positivity, and determination, our focus becomes more resilient. The key to harnessing the power of habits lies in becoming aware of both the external and internal routines that shape our mental landscape. By intentionally choosing habits that strengthen our attention, we can create an environment in which focus becomes second nature. Building focused routines. Strategies for enhancing concentration. The process of building focus-enhancing routines begins with understanding the importance of consistency. Focus is not something that can be turned on at will in the middle of a chaotic, unorganized day. Instead, focus requires an environment that is conducive to deep, undistracted work. One of the best ways to foster such an environment is by creating routines that reinforce focus as a habit. For example, you can set aside specific times during the day when you commit to working without distractions. This could mean scheduling blocks of time where you eliminate potential interruptions, such as putting your phone on Do Not Disturb mode, closing unnecessary tabs on your computer, or working in a quiet environment. The act of creating this routine builds a habit of concentration, allowing your brain to become accustomed to periods of intense focus. To further enhance these focus habits, it's essential to incorporate planning into your routine. Having a clear plan for the day and knowing exactly what you need to accomplish not only helps direct your focus, but also minimizes the chances of being distracted by other tasks. Prioritize your tasks based on importance and deadlines, and break them down into manageable chunks. When we focus on one thing at a time and avoid multitasking, our brain is better able to sustain attention and complete tasks with greater accuracy and efficiency. The routine of organizing tasks and dedicating specific periods of time to each task trains the brain to stay focused on one objective at a time, preventing the mental fatigue that comes with constant switching between tasks. Another crucial element in building focus-enhancing routines is rest. It may seem counterintuitive, but rest is just as important as work when it comes to focus. The brain needs time to recharge and process information, and without adequate rest, our ability to concentrate diminishes. Building habits around self-care, such as taking breaks throughout the day, getting enough sleep, and engaging in activities that promote relaxation, can significantly improve your ability to maintain focus over the long term. A well-rested brain is sharper, more focused, and better equipped to handle challenges, which is why it's essential to prioritize rest in your daily routine. A strong focus-enhancing routine also involves intentional moments of mindfulness. Incorporating mindfulness practices into your day, whether through meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simple mindfulness breaks, helps center your mind and enhances your ability to stay present. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for reducing mental clutter and bringing your attention back to the task at hand. By intentionally training your mind to stay focused on the present moment, you create a mental environment that supports clarity and concentration, which in turn enhances your overall productivity. Breaking habits of distraction, overcoming the pull of digital noise. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, emails, constant notifications, and the pressure to multitask all contribute to a fragmented, unfocused state of mind. Breaking the habit of distraction requires a conscious effort to re-establish control over your attention. The first step in overcoming distractions is recognizing the nature of these interruptions and how they pull our focus away from what truly matters. Social media, for example, has been designed to be engaging and attention-grabbing, often leading us into a cycle of mindless scrolling. These distractions hijack our attention, making it difficult to stay focused on our work or our goals. To break free from these distractions, it's essential to implement strategies that help you regain control over your attention. One effective approach is setting clear boundaries for digital consumption. Create designated times during the day when you allow yourself to check social media or respond to emails. But outside of those times, avoid checking your devices. Use tools such as apps that block distracting websites or set specific times for checking emails, so you're not constantly bombarded with interruptions. By setting boundaries, you prevent distractions from taking over your day and help train your brain to stay focused on the tasks at hand. Another powerful technique for overcoming distractions is practicing deep work. Deep work refers to the ability to focus without interruption on cognitively demanding tasks. This requires creating an environment where distractions are minimized and your full attention can be dedicated to the task at hand. It might involve turning off your phone, closing unnecessary browser tabs, or creating a designated space for focused work. Deep work also requires a shift in mindset. Rather than feeling overwhelmed by the demands of work, approach each task as an opportunity to engage in focused, meaningful work. The more you practice deep work, the easier it becomes to stay in a state of flow and concentrate on the task without being distracted by external stimuli. Finally, one of the most effective ways to break habits of distraction is to practice mindfulness. Helps you become more aware of your mental state and the distractions that arise throughout the day. By simply observing when your mind begins to wander or when you feel the pull of digital distractions, you can gently bring your attention back to the present moment. Mindfulness exercises such as deep breathing or body scans can help you re-enter your focus and maintain clarity during your work. Over time, practicing mindfulness will strengthen your ability to stay focused and resist the pull of distractions, allowing you to complete tasks with greater efficiency and satisfaction. Chapter 11. Digital Detox for Mental Clarity. In the age of information overload, it's easy to get caught in the cycle of constant digital consumption. The allure of endless notifications, social media feeds, emails, and the constant buzz of connectivity has created an environment where our attention is continually pulled in multiple directions. While technology has certainly brought many conveniences and advancements, it has also created a pervasive sense of distraction and mental clutter. This chapter is dedicated to the importance of a digital detox, taking a step back from the digital world in order to regain control of your attention and mental clarity. By setting boundaries and creating intentional space away from screens, you can reclaim the focus and mental stillness needed to live a purposeful, productive life. In this chapter, we will explore the impact of technology on focus, the science behind digital addiction, and practical strategies for initiating a digital detox. The impact of technology on focus. A double-edged sword. Technology is often seen as the ultimate tool for convenience and productivity, yet it comes with a hidden cost: our attention. The modern digital landscape is engineered to capture and hold our attention, whether it's through social media platforms designed to keep us scrolling or constant push notifications that disrupt our concentration. The truth is, these digital distractions are incredibly effective at fragmenting our focus, and over time, they can diminish our cognitive abilities. The human brain, though incredibly powerful, is not equipped to process the sheer volume of information it's exposed to in the digital age. Constant multitasking, jumping between apps, answering emails, and reading the latest updates all take a toll on our cognitive capacity, making it harder to sustain deep focus on any one task. The issue is not just the sheer amount of digital stimuli, but the speed at which our brains are required to process it. Every time we check our phones or respond to a notification, our brain experiences a surge of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. This dopamine rush is what makes checking notifications so addictive. In fact, studies show that the more frequently we check our phones, the more reliant our brain becomes on these dopamine-driven rewards, leading to a cycle of habitual checking that becomes difficult to break. In addition, the constant switching between tasks, such as responding to messages while working, hinders our ability to concentrate for extended periods. The brain is forced to continuously reorient itself, causing mental fatigue and a decrease in overall productivity. The impact of this fragmented attention can be profound, leading to a sense of burnout, decreased creativity, and even anxiety. In the long term, this overstimulation can affect our ability to focus on meaningful tasks and think deeply. What is even more concerning is the erosion of our ability to be present in the moment. With the constant temptation of digital devices, we often find ourselves mentally checked out of real-world interactions and experiences. Whether at a family dinner, during a conversation with a friend, or in the middle of a work task, the digital world can intrude and demand our attention. This not only diminishes the quality of our relationships, but also takes away from our ability to be fully engaged with our work and our surroundings. In a world where our focus is continually hijacked by digital distractions, a digital detox becomes an essential practice to help us reconnect with the present moment and regain control over our attention. The science of digital addiction. Understanding the effects on the brain. The addictive nature of digital technology is not just a matter of willpower. It's a biological response to how our brains are wired. As mentioned earlier, the release of dopamine in response to notifications and digital stimuli creates a cycle of reward-seeking behavior. However, the more we engage with these technologies, the more our brains become conditioned to seek out that pleasurable feeling, which creates a feedback loop that is difficult to escape. Over time, our tolerance for dopamine increases, meaning we need even more stimulation to achieve the same level of satisfaction. This is why we may find ourselves compulsively checking our phones, scrolling through social media, or refreshing our inboxes, even when we know it's detrimental to our productivity or mental well-being. One of the most significant impacts of digital addiction is its effect on our attention span. Research has shown that excessive use of digital devices can shrink the capacity for sustained focus. In fact, a study conducted by Microsoft in 2015 found that the average human attention span had decreased from 12 seconds to just 8 seconds, largely due to the constant barrage of digital information. This decline in attention span is a direct result of the brain's adaptation to constant stimulation, and it leads to an increased difficulty in focusing on a single task for an extended period of time. The brain becomes trained to jump from one stimulus to another, creating a cycle of distraction that makes deep, focused work increasingly difficult. Moreover, the addictive nature of digital technology can lead to negative emotional states such as anxiety, depression, and stress. The fear of missing out is amplified by social media platforms, which often highlight the most curated and idealized aspects of other people's lives. This can cause feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, and loneliness, particularly when we compare our own lives to the seemingly perfect images we see online. Additionally, the constant availability of digital communication can lead to work-related stress, as we feel the pressure to respond to emails or messages immediately. The stress of being perpetually available and constantly connected can lead to burnout, making it even more difficult to regain the mental clarity needed to focus. Understanding the science behind digital addiction helps us recognize the effects on our brains and bodies, and motivates us to take action to regain control over our mental landscape. Implementing a digital detox: practical strategies for reclaiming your focus. A digital detox is not just about turning off your devices for a few hours. It's about creating a sustainable long-term practice that helps you regain control over your attention. Implementing a digital detox requires intentionality, self-awareness, and a commitment to setting boundaries. The first step in this process is identifying your digital habits and recognizing the areas where you are most vulnerable to distraction. Are you constantly checking your phone? Do you feel the need to stay connected to social media throughout the day? Are you overwhelmed by the sheer volume of emails and notifications that you receive? Once you identify these habits, you can begin to take steps to reduce your digital consumption. One effective strategy for a digital detox is to set specific times during the day when you disconnect from all digital devices. For example, you could designate the first hour of your day as a screen-free time, allowing yourself to focus on activities such as reading, journaling, exercising, or simply enjoying a quiet breakfast. Similarly, you can set aside time in the evening to disconnect from screens and engage in activities that promote relaxation and mindfulness. By establishing clear boundaries around your digital usage, you create intentional space for focus and mental clarity. Another important practice in a digital detox is to eliminate unnecessary notifications. Many apps, websites, and services send constant alerts to keep you engaged, but most of these notifications are not urgent. By turning off non-essential notifications, you reduce the constant pull of digital distractions, allowing yourself to focus on what truly matters. Additionally, using tools such as website blockers or apps that help you limit your screen time can help reduce temptation and keep you on track. For example, you might install an app that blocks access to social media sites during certain hours of the day, or use a timer to limit your screen time to a specific amount each day. A more radical approach to a digital detox is to take regular breaks from technology entirely. This could mean taking a day, a weekend, or even a week off from all digital devices. The benefits of such a break are profound. It allows your brain to reset, reduces stress, and helps you reconnect with the present moment. During this time, you can engage in activities that nourish your body and mind, going for a hike, spending time with loved ones, or simply being still. A digital detox is a powerful reminder that we are not defined by our digital presence, and that true focus and mental clarity come from reconnecting with ourselves and the world around us. Chapter 12. The Role of Environment in Focus. Our environment plays a fundamental role in shaping the way we think, feel, and behave. It's easy to overlook how the space around us influences our mental state. But the truth is that our surroundings have a profound impact on our ability to focus. Whether we're working, studying, or simply trying to maintain mental clarity, the environment we choose to surround ourselves with either supports or hinders our ability to concentrate. This chapter explores how your physical environment affects your mental focus, how to design spaces that enhance productivity, and why silence and solitude are key to fostering a clear mind. It also delves into how creating an empowering environment can help you tap into your mental potential and achieve your goals with greater ease. Your environment shapes your mindset. It may not be immediately apparent, but the environment you spend time in has a direct impact on your thoughts and mental clarity. Whether you're in a cluttered room, a loud coffee shop, or a calm, organized office space, your physical surroundings influence how you feel, and more importantly, how well you can focus. Research has shown that cluttered spaces often lead to cluttered minds. When we are surrounded by mess, our brains are constantly processing all the visual stimuli, which can lead to cognitive overload. In contrast, a clean, organized environment can help to reduce distractions and promote clarity of thought. The act of tidying up not only clears the physical space, but also clears mental space, allowing you to direct your energy toward the task at hand. The design of your workspace or home plays a significant role in fostering the right mindset. For instance, having an ergonomically designed chair or desk can make a big difference in your ability to focus for long periods. The physical comfort of your space allows you to stay engaged and productive without distraction. Moreover, the color of your surroundings can influence your mood and focus. Studies have shown that certain colors can have specific effects on the brain. For example, blue is associated with calm and concentration, while red can increase energy and focus on action. By paying attention to the color's layout and overall aesthetics of your environment, you can consciously design spaces that support mental clarity and focus. One important aspect of environment design is lighting. Proper lighting not only makes a space more inviting, but also impacts your ability to concentrate. Dim or inadequate lighting can strain your eyes and lead to fatigue, which diminishes focus. In contrast, natural light or bright, cool, toned artificial lighting helps to keep you alert and focused. Moreover, the ambient noise level in your environment also affects your ability to concentrate. In a noisy space, your brain has to work harder to filter out distractions, which can lead to mental exhaustion and decreased productivity. Therefore, designing an environment that is visually calm, well lit, and acoustically balanced is an essential step toward creating a space that fosters deep focus. Designing for focus. Practical tips for creating an optimal workspace. Creating an environment conducive to focus is not just about removing distractions. It's about intentionally designing spaces that allow your brain to thrive. The first step in this process is to clear away any clutter or unnecessary items that could disrupt your flow of thought, whether it's papers, gadgets, or even personal items that remind you of unrelated tasks. Anything that takes your attention away from your work should be minimized. It's also important to organize your workspace so that everything you need is easily accessible. By keeping essential tools within arm's reach and minimizing the number of items that could potentially distract you, create an environment that supports productivity and efficiency. The layout of your space is equally important. If possible, position your desk or work area in such a way that it faces away from distractions. This could mean placing your desk near a window for natural light or positioning it in a corner where you're less likely to be interrupted. Your workspace should also have a designated area for relaxation or breaks where you can recharge before returning to focused work. The key is to create a balance between areas of deep concentration and moments of rest, ensuring that both are optimized for maximum productivity. Another essential element in designing for focus is choosing the right tools and technology. When setting up your workspace, invest in tools that will help you stay organized and efficient. This might include a planner or digital tools for task management, a whiteboard for brainstorming ideas, or noise-canceling headphones if you work in a noisy environment. Additionally, consider the role of technology in your workspace. While technology can enhance productivity, it can also be a source of distraction. By using apps and tools that help you stay focused, such as time management software or website blockers, you can create a work environment that minimizes digital distractions and encourages deeper concentration. One practical tip is to limit the number of tabs or windows you have open on your computer. Research has shown that having multiple browser tabs open at once can significantly reduce cognitive performance, as it forces your brain to shift focus between tasks. By keeping your digital workspace clean and uncluttered, you can enhance your ability to stay focused on one task at a time. Additionally, you might want to establish a digital filing system to keep your computer organized, just as you would organize physical documents. Having an efficient workspace, both physical and digital, ensures that you are always prepared to engage with your work without unnecessary distractions or obstacles. The importance of silence and solitude, finding clarity and stillness. While the physical design of your environment plays a crucial role in promoting focus, the mental and emotional atmosphere is just as important. Silence and solitude are often undervalued in today's hyper-connected world, but they are essential components for achieving mental clarity and focus. In a world filled with constant noise and stimulation, it's easy to become overwhelmed and distracted. Taking time to embrace silence and solitude gives your mind the space it needs to process thoughts, find clarity, and deepen concentration. Silence doesn't just refer to the absence of sound. It's about creating a mental space where you are free from external distractions, allowing you to tune into your own thoughts and ideas. In this quiet space, your mind can operate at its fullest potential, processing information more effectively and generating creative solutions. Silence fosters a sense of calm and control, which is essential for cultivating sustained focus. In fact, research has shown that working in a quiet environment can significantly improve performance on cognitive tasks, as it allows the brain to focus entirely on the task at hand. Solitude also plays an essential role in fostering focus. While collaboration and social interaction are important, there are times when being alone is necessary for deep work. Solitude allows you to disconnect from external pressures and demands, giving you the mental freedom to focus solely on your thoughts and tasks. During periods of solitude, you are less likely to be interrupted, and you have the freedom to immerse yourself fully in your work without distraction. This time alone can be especially beneficial for tasks that require creative thinking, problem solving, or deep analysis. Creating a space of silence and solitude doesn't necessarily mean you need to retreat to a remote location or spend hours alone. It's about finding moments of stillness throughout the day where you can center yourself and regain focus. You might choose to start your day with a few minutes of silence before diving into work, or take periodic breaks throughout the day to step away from the noise and reconnect with your inner thoughts. By consciously carving out moments of solitude and silence, you allow yourself the opportunity to recharge and refocus, which leads to greater mental clarity and productivity. Chapter 13. Mastering Focus in High-Stress Situations. Life often places us in situations where high stakes, tight deadlines, or intense emotional pressure make it difficult to focus. These high-stress moments can be mentally taxing, challenging us to maintain clarity when it feels as if everything is falling apart. Whether it's an important meeting, a difficult conversation, or a personal crisis, stress can cloud our judgment, scatter our thoughts, and lead to reactive behavior. In these times, mastering the ability to focus becomes not only essential, but also transformational. This chapter will explore how to maintain focus under pressure, the techniques that can help you regain mental clarity in stressful situations, and how to cultivate a resilient mindset that enables you to stay present when it matters most. Focus under pressure. How stress impacts your ability to concentrate. Stress is a natural response to perceived challenges, but when left unchecked, it can have a significant impact on your cognitive functions. In high-stress situations, your body releases a surge of stress hormones, primarily cortisol and adrenaline. While these hormones are designed to help you respond to immediate threats, they can also impair your ability to think clearly, make decisions, and concentrate. When under stress, the brain's prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for reasoning, decision-making, and focus, becomes less active, while the amygdala, which governs emotional responses, becomes more active. This imbalance makes it harder to think logically and stay focused on the task at hand. As a result, stress can induce a sense of overwhelm, making it feel like your mind is racing and your thoughts are scattered. The impact of stress on focus is particularly evident when you're juggling multiple priorities at once. In these situations, it's easy to become mentally fragmented, constantly shifting from one task to the next without completing anything. The constant switching between tasks or ideas diminishes your ability to concentrate deeply on any one thing. Additionally, stress can lead to negative thinking patterns, such as catastrophizing, where you imagine the worst possible outcome, which can further hinder your ability to focus. This combination of mental fragmentation and negative thought spirals can create a vicious cycle that only exacerbates the pressure you're already feeling. However, it's important to recognize that stress is not inherently negative. It's how you respond to stress that determines its effect on your focus and performance. Understanding the physiological and psychological responses to stress is the first step in learning how to regain control over your attention during high-stakes moments. By practicing techniques that calm the body and mind, you can reduce the detrimental impact of stress on your ability to focus and create a sense of mental clarity even in the most intense situations. Breath work and focus. Harnessing the power of your breath to calm the mind. One of the most powerful and accessible tools for regaining focus in high-stress situations is breath work. When you're under pressure, your breathing tends to become shallow and rapid, which only intensifies the stress response. By consciously controlling your breath, you can activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for relaxation and calmness. Deep breathing exercises such as diaphragmatic breathing or the 478 technique can help slow your heart rate, reduce cortisol levels, and bring you back into a state of focus. The 478 technique is a simple yet effective method that involves inhaling through your nose for 4 seconds, holding your breath for 7 seconds, and then exhaling slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. This practice helps to calm the nervous system and restore balance to the body, allowing you to regain mental clarity and concentration. Another effective breathing technique is box breathing, which involves inhaling for 4 seconds, holding the breath for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds, and then holding the breath again for 4 seconds. This method encourages deep, steady breaths that help you stay grounded and focused under pressure. In addition to these specific techniques, it's important to cultivate mindful breathing as part of your daily routine. By practicing deep, mindful breathing regularly, you train your body and mind to respond more effectively to stress when it arises. This not only helps you maintain focus in high-stress situations, but also promotes long-term resilience and emotional regulation. When you're able to control your breath, you are better equipped to control your thoughts and actions, enabling you to stay focused and present, even in the most challenging circumstances. Turning anxiety into energy using stress to fuel better focus. Anxiety is often viewed as a negative emotion, something to be avoided or eliminated at all costs. However, anxiety can actually be harnessed as a source of energy that fuels focus and productivity. The key is to shift your mindset and reframe anxiety as a signal that your body is preparing for action. Instead of allowing anxiety to overwhelm you, use it as a catalyst to sharpen your focus and drive your performance. When you experience anxiety, your body is essentially gearing up for a fight or flight response. While this response is often associated with fear, it can also be a source of motivation. By recognizing that anxiety signals your body's readiness to take action, you can transform this energy into a productive force. This shift in mindset allows you to use the heightened state of alertness that comes with anxiety to concentrate more deeply and work with greater intensity. It's important to note that this process requires practice and self-awareness. Over time, you can train yourself to recognize the physiological signs of anxiety and reframe them as an opportunity for focused action rather than a hindrance to your productivity. One powerful way to channel anxiety into energy is to break tasks down into smaller, manageable steps. High-stress situations can feel overwhelming when viewed as a whole, but by focusing on one small action at a time, you can regain a sense of control and direction. This approach allows you to use the energy created by anxiety to tackle individual tasks with precision and focus, rather than becoming paralyzed by the enormity of the situation. Additionally, by setting clear goals and intentions, you can direct the energy of anxiety toward accomplishing something meaningful, thereby shifting your focus away from the stress and toward the positive action. Another helpful technique is to embrace the concept of productive discomfort. This involves accepting that stress and anxiety are natural parts of growth and achievement. Instead of resisting or avoiding discomfort, you lean into it, knowing that it's a sign that you're stretching beyond your comfort zone. By doing so, you build mental resilience and increase your capacity to stay focused and perform well under pressure. Over time, you will begin to associate anxiety with growth rather than fear, allowing you to harness its energy to fuel your success. Chapter 14. Living a life of focused intentionality. Living a life that is in alignment with your truest self is not a mere aspiration. It's a necessity in today's fast-paced, distracted world. Too often we are bombarded by external forces that seek to pull our attention in a million different directions. From the constant pings of notifications to the endless stream of news and social media, the demands on our attention can feel overwhelming. But amidst this chaos, it is entirely possible to create a life of intentional focus, where your energy, time, and efforts are deliberately aligned with your deepest values and aspirations. This final chapter is dedicated to the art of living a focused life, one that is not just about achieving goals, but about cultivating a deeper sense of purpose, mindfulness, and intentionality in every action you take. The importance of consistency, the power of daily practices. The journey toward living a life of focus begins with consistency. Focus isn't something that can be achieved overnight, nor can it be maintained without intentional effort. It is built slowly over time, one small, deliberate action after another. The foundation of this consistency lies in your daily practices, the routines, rituals, and habits that shape how you spend your time each day. These practices serve as the building blocks of a focused life, creating a solid foundation upon which all of your goals and intentions can be realized. When you commit to daily practices that support your focus and purpose, you are reinforcing your vision with every action. For instance, waking up each morning and dedicating the first few moments to mindfulness or meditation sets the tone for the rest of your day. This simple act of quieting your mind allows you to center yourself before engaging with the world, giving you the clarity to make intentional decisions. Similarly, developing a habit of reviewing your goals each day helps you stay on track, ensuring that your actions are always aligned with your long-term aspirations. These daily rituals are powerful because they cultivate a mindset of focus and purpose. They are the steady pulse that keeps you moving forward even when distractions arise. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means showing up for yourself day after day, even on days when you don't feel like it. It's about maintaining momentum, making small improvements each day, and being patient with the process. Over time, these small efforts compound, creating profound shifts in how you approach life. It's easy to overlook the power of daily consistency, but when you look back on your life in the future, you'll realize that it was these small, seemingly insignificant actions that ultimately shaped your path. Embracing imperfection, letting go of the need for control. One of the greatest challenges in the pursuit of a focused life is the need for perfection. Many of us strive for flawless execution, believing that only a perfect approach will yield the desired results. But this mindset often leads to frustration, self-doubt, and burnout. Living a life of focus requires you to let go of the need for control and embrace imperfection. You don't need to have everything figured out in order to make progress. In fact, it's often through the imperfect process that the most valuable lessons are learned. Embracing imperfection is not about lowering your standards or giving up on your goals. It's about accepting that mistakes and setbacks are a natural part of the journey. Life is unpredictable, and no plan will ever unfold exactly as you envision it. There will be moments when you fail, when you fall short, or when things don't go as planned. But these moments are not signs of failure. They are opportunities for growth. When you allow yourself the grace to be imperfect, you free yourself from the paralyzing fear of making mistakes, and you open yourself up to the possibility of growth and discovery. By releasing the need to control every outcome, you also free yourself from the weight of unrealistic expectations. You stop focusing on achieving perfection and instead focus on making progress. This shift in mindset allows you to stay present in the moment, appreciating the process rather than obsessing over the results. Imperfection teaches you resilience, flexibility, and the ability to adapt when things don't go as planned. It is through this adaptability that you cultivate a deeper sense of trust in yourself and your ability to navigate life's challenges with focus and clarity. Building a legacy of focused impact, leaving a mark on the world. Living a focused life is not only about personal growth, it's about making an impact on the world around you. A life of intentional focus has the power to influence not just your own trajectory, but also the lives of those you encounter. When you live with clarity and purpose, you become a beacon of inspiration for others. Your focus becomes a ripple effect that extends outward, inspiring those around you to also live with intention and purpose. The legacy you leave behind is built on the actions you take every day. It's the cumulative effect of your choices, the way you treat others, and the mark you leave on the world. By consistently aligning your actions with your values and purpose, you create a legacy that is meaningful and impactful. This legacy doesn't have to be grand or monumental. It can be as simple as the way you positively influence the people you interact with, or the small changes you inspire in your community. Focused living is contagious. When you live with purpose, you encourage others to do the same. Creating a focused life is also about leaving a legacy of clarity. People often spend their entire lives in pursuit of something external: money, fame, status, believing that these things will bring fulfillment. But when you live with focus and clarity, you recognize that true fulfillment comes from within. You realize that the legacy you leave is not in what you accumulate, but in how you live. Your focused actions, grounded in your values and purpose, have the power to create a ripple effect that transforms not only your life, but also the lives of others. Ultimately, the most important legacy you can leave behind is one of authenticity. A life that is focused on living in alignment with your true self is a life well lived. When you focus on what matters most and commit to living with intention, you create a lasting impact that transcends time. Your legacy becomes a living testament to the power of focused living and serves as an inspiration for future generations to come.